bios. I just want to say a couple of things about this individual who I've had a chance to know. First, he is a person who's committed to public service. You know that by reading about his time as a police officer, went on to serve with distinction and is a veteran of the United States Army. And he is also serving right now as the Virginia State Senator from Virginia's 17th District, which includes Fredericksburg, Orange County, Spotsylvania, Culpeper, and Albemarle. So he's really committed to his public service. Second, he's a person whose ideas are powerful and they're recognized. In fact, he represents the Virginia Senate on the Virginia Military Advisory Council, the VMAC Council, which I've had the privilege of speaking to and talking about our partnership between business and the installations. And he's recognized by his peers and has the honor of representing them on that commission. And his ideas have made a difference in this area and many other pieces of legislation that he has sponsored. He's thirdly a person with great integrity. And in today's climate of politics, it's great to have people who are truly committed to serving others, whose ideas are recognized, and he is committed to the business community, making Virginia the best state for business, and to our veteran community. I couldn't think of anyone better to represent the General Assembly than Senator Bryce Reeves. Please give him a warm welcome as he comes to address us.
Well, good morning. This is part of the military family. Good morning. That sounds better. We can go do PT later if you want. Speaking of PT, let me thank Barry and his whole team for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you today. I just ran into somebody, for those of you in the Tidewater area, who may or may not know your chamber president there, Brian Stevens. Where are you, sir? I call him sir, even though he looks younger than me now. He was one of my instructors at Texas A&M when I was a young cadet. And so he often says this now to everybody that I introduce him to. If you like me, I made him what he is. If you don't like him, it wasn't my fault. So, so Brian, good to see you this morning. You know, Barry touched on it. I'm an infantryman. I was an airborne ranger. So I'll try to speak slow and loud for my Marine Corps buddies. I'm sorry I don't have any crowns or coloring books or pictures, so it's not going to be that kind of show. Hey, what's a little inner rivalry there? But no, I really want to brief you all on some of the progress that we've made here in Virginia to ensure that our almost 850,000 veterans continue to make the Old Dominion their home, keep Virginia the most veteran-friendly state in the Union, and that our great companies, like many are here today, continue to reap the benefits of hiring qualified veterans in their workforce. And I'm really proud to say, I think Commissioner Newby was here somewhere. John, good to see you. In the General Assembly, when it comes to our veterans, our active duty, our guard, and our reserve, it's the one area in all the politics we have out there where it's nonpartisan. And I can say that with a straight face and wholeheartedly. And as a veteran, it's probably why I spend the majority of my time working and specializing and focusing on that area. But it's not without its miscommunications. I look at Commissioner Newby on that. It's kind of like when the military has a breakdown in communications. You know, for instance, if I take the phrase and say, as a commander, and I say, secure that building, right? Well, if you give it to the Army, they're going to put guards around it. If you give it to the Navy, they're going to turn out the lights. They're going to lock their doors. If you give it to my Marine comrades, they're going to kill everybody inside and make it a command post. If you give it to the Air Force, right, John? If you give it to the Air Force, they're going to take out a 5-year lease with a 5-year option and put a Starbucks in it. But the real truth is, we've done a lot of work to further the cause and accomplish the mission of taking care of those who've worn the cloth. So let me just share a few highlights with you. I serve on a lot of committees, but we do a lot of work. And for those of you who don't know, the Military and Veterans Caucus really functions as a committee within the General Assembly, but I don't even know how to describe it, but it works very effectively, and I think that's because a lot of the members are prior service, and we just kind of, I don't want to say we follow orders blindly, but their hearts are in different spots. So I'll just kind of start. I have kind of a laundry list of some of the things you've probably never even heard about, but that come through the General Assembly to allow us the opportunity to make Virginia the best place for our veterans. So starting in 2011, the first thing we realized, we were short manned. So we started working on the Department of Veteran Services Benefit Service Program as a budget item, and it established a ratio of staff to veterans in the community. We worked on veteran cemeteries. That was a bill. One bill that I worked on with Commissioner Newby that I am very proud to say it's taken us since 2011 to last, I guess it was a couple months ago, correct? Was we didn't quite get the bill done, but we started the process to look at a veterans court, which turned into a veterans docket. And I know Commissioner Newby and I had the honor of cutting a ribbon in Spotsylvania County a couple months ago with a circuit court judge, former Marine Rick Regal, to look at a regional courts docket for those members. And most of us know as 70,000 troops come home from the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq that they have a lot of issues. And those issues sometimes fester and build, and veterans sometimes self-medicate, which lead to other issues, and sometimes they find themselves standing in front of a judge and they haven't received the benefits they deserve or have earned, and so that's one way we can give back. But I'm proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with our commissioner and make sure we do that. We've worked on the Veterans War Memorial, in-state tuition for our veterans. One of the bills, when I first came on in the General Assembly, I found out that we had unclaimed remains that weren't getting a dignified burial. And for those of you who've raised your hand and sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and bear true faith and allegiance to the same, one of the things they always tell you is, you might die in combat, but your body will make it home, and your loved one will get a flag. And we weren't honoring that commitment. So that, for me, that was very, very personal. We started off with a veteran's ID card. I know Delegate John McGuire, a former Navy SEAL, this last year got that moved into a driver's license now. So if you're a veteran, you want to get your driver's license with the military veteran service on it, you can do that. One thing I'm really proud of in 2012, you've heard our previous governor talk about it, about theoretically ending veterans' homelessness. And that really encourages me, because if we can do it for veterans, we can do it for everyone else. But I can't thank our DVS team and the governor's team there, Terry McAuliffe and his group, for figuring out how to put those pieces together. They're the only state still, I think, if I remember correctly, in the union to be able to do that. So if you find a veteran and he's homeless, we have ways to make sure that they get immediate assistance. One of the other things we took on as a General Assembly were we were not going to wait on the federal government. We started 2 new veterans care facilities. And I say this, I say we, and I'm going to say we a lot, because as a military kind of me says, it's a combined arms effort. It really is. And that was in 2013 we started that, and we started breaking ground the last couple of years. Real property tax exemptions, the Wounded Warrior Program, which we renamed into something else. It just goes on and on. There's pages and pages of highlights of bills that we have done and worked on to make Virginia the most veteran-friendly state. One of the other things I serve on is the Board of Veteran Services. And along with the VMAC and the Commission on Military Installation Defense Activities, I work with an organization called the JLC, Joint Leadership Council, and that's made up, I think, of 27, maybe 29 veteran service organizations. And they come out with their own legislation that they would like the General Assembly to help look at, and they actually come to resolution and come up with some key points. And so in 2018, some of their policy initiatives, and I because we didn't get them all done, will probably be the same. We're looking at a residency requirement and a constitutional amendment. It'll be the second resolution for that to go by. It's House Joint Resolution 562. We are looking at overseas electronic balloting. It made it through the Senate last year, did not make it through the House. Some of this was budget related. The one big thing that I think you all would be interested in, and the veterans that are in the audience today, is the Veteran Entrepreneur Capital Resource Program. We'll look at that. A big kudos, and I will call him out again, that Commissioner Newby worked on, and his whole group, was there is a disparity between men and women veterans, and we didn't have enough representation for our women veterans, so we have added a position to just focus on that. I think that's really, really important. They just got through having a big event this summer up in Northern Virginia. We're looking at income tax subtraction for certain low-income, 100% disabled veterans, removing combat requirement for VMS, DEP, and increasing the sales tax subtraction for National Guard to $5,000. That's the other thing that most people don't understand is that we own our National Guard, and I'm proud to stand here and tell you we have sent almost 18,000 or more of our sons and daughters into theater, and they come back, and then they respond to hurricanes and everywhere else. But the reality is they're reaching burnout just like our active force, and recruitment's low. So we've got to work with General Williams, Tim Williams, who's doing a fantastic job as our Adjutant General, to keep our men and women happy and healthy. And so we're going to work on them a little bit and see if we can't pump up our National Guard. So you can tell we have a very aggressive agenda. We need all the help we can get, from business owners to companies to veterans to loved ones to families. Everybody's connected to that. And as this legislation goes through, I will tell you, each of you can be a lobbyist. You can all show up because it's a 45-day session this year. It's going to be fast and furious. We'll do tweaks to the budget. We have a few things to work on, like aligning the Virginia tax code with the new federal tax changes and some of those things. So we have some big issues, but we never want to forget where we are with our veterans. And speaking of wearing the cloth and taking the oath, I want to address those who have served and continue to serve our nation, if I could. It's an incredible, selfless thing that you have done or continue to do, to be in the military, to volunteer when you could be pursuing or could have pursued so many other things in your lives, but instead choosing to serve your beloved country. Your commitment to the United States, its citizens, and allies around the world is nothing short of what I call noble. And I want to thank you for your willingness to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves, to stand for each other. You see, there can be no greater trust, there can be no greater bond, knowing your fellow soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine would stand in front of you, side by side with you, no matter the danger. It's a club you can't buy. You can't get into it just from a membership standpoint. It can't be faked and it can't be underestimated. You see, you are the real deal if you've worn the cloth of the country, and the pride that comes from serving will only grow as you live out your lives. I've been thinking a lot lately, and we got a president speaking to the UN today, that this world continues to seemingly spiral out of control. Partisan politics has never been as bad as it is today. But people are uncertain and they're afraid. But the one constant that they can count on, the one constant are the men and women of this country who, through training and discipline, are willing to stand and put their safety and freedom of others above their own. Because you are the tip of the spear, prepared to go anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. You are the strongest your country has to offer, and Britain's greatest ally. And in my mind, you are the greatest friend of freedom the world will ever know. So I want to thank you personally for my life, for my family's life, their security, and for those that you will never meet. I'm really proud to have the chance to address you today. I only ask that the angels from above cover you and serve you unflinchingly to protect as you protect the freedoms of this world. I can offer you nothing but my respect. Thank you all. God bless you, and Godspeed.